Rosa, 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 where do I begin? Rosa is a jack of all trades and a master of none kind of unit. She has a myriad of spells and high utility value but excels in none. Overall, I find her kind of lukewarm so far, despite the high potential as a hybrid unit. Lukewarm in terms of she's a collaboration unit and she's good as a UR unit but not as a limited collaboration one. Let's talk about what makes her appealing first. She's the first UR archer in Global, with access to her own version of Sharpshoot called Sure Shot, which is a guaranteed physical hit attack, and access to guaranteed magic hit attack called Holy. Having these skills makes her a formidable foe against evade units, since you have many options if it weren't for a few problems. First, let's discuss her Sure Shot. What makes it problematic? Unlike Frederica and Lucia, her Sure Shot is not supported by her kit. Frederica trumps Rosa with regards to range, with Fred getting a max of 7 range, able to hit enemies far, far away without getting in the enemy's range. Not to mention that's unbuffed. With buff, Frederica can reach 8 range. And that's crazy for her. She's the literal sniper until Niblu comes out. Lucia, despite having similar range to Rosa without being buffed, has death penetration, while Rosa does not. Not to mention her Earth Eater ability that allows her to deal massive damage against Earth units. Rosa lacks both range and damage, sadly. She cannot one-hit a foe when she comes in range. She does not have the range to stay out of range from other enemy units' attacks, making her a sitting duck and sometimes a pain to maneuver. Moving on to her Holy ability, she does not pack a punch like Ffbe's Holy, nor does she cast it as fast enough as Ayaka, due to Ayaka's Time Mage sub-skill, Speed Cast. She is better at casting times compared to Rosa, making it sometimes a pain when you really have to kill an enemy. You know, you can just hit him with Rosa's Holy and then you realize she casts it after that unit gets a turn or after the enemy's healer unit gets a turn, making Holy or casting it pointless, so you just drop it all together and run away. So Ffbe, who is a bruiser mage who can duke it out in the front lines to deliver a decisive Holy, or Ayaka, who can apply haste, making a speedy in and out. Rosa has none of those that can save her life while she casts Holy. Like most supports, they are just like twigs that, can snap in two once hit with a devastating attack, like, Stern or Venera, anyone that comes in range. Ffbe has high defense, and Ayaka has haste. Leela has evade. Rosa has dodge, which is a high risk and high reward ability, which of course leaves her fate in the hands of freaking RNG gods, unfortunately speaking. Other than that, she does not have any redeeming qualities, with her luck being so low. It's almost impossible to build her evade, even if you stack her up with all those evade items. I mean, with the current equipment, vision cards, and everything else, you won't get any good results. It would have been nice if they gave her a little bit more luck. As I said, both skills, Arab and Holy, are appealing. You get access to physical guaranteed hit damage and magical guaranteed hit damage, but both are lukewarm. They are meant to augment your DPS attack when your damage dealer is lacking damage to deal the final blow. The problem with this is really her lack of range and speed in general. After exposing herself to the enemy, she becomes a one-hit delete target, putting you immediately in a disadvantage. One redeeming quality about her is her pure prayer, and mostly that is what you would rather want her to be on your team for. Status ailments play a huge part in all types of PvP content. Slapping your units with pure prayer, which nullifies a lot of status ailments for 3 turns, makes your team unsusceptible to crowd control attacks, which what makes them have the ability to make a fearless advance towards the enemy camp, or if the enemy is haphazard enough, they can waste their skills by trying to CC your units anyway within those turns. She's a great pick for live PvP for that reason, and great for PvE where there are tons of Malboros flailing their tentacles all over the place. Let's talk about her being a support healer. Besides pure prayer, this is probably what I use her for. She has the same level of heals as Ayaka, with the only difference in their limit breaks. Ayaka's LB covers a bigger range compared to Rosa's and can cast far away, while Rosa has to be beside her target to use her limit break, which poses a problem due to my aforementioned survivability issues. She also has a black mage sub, which pales in comparison to calculators or arithmetic skills and range. Her biggest problem is her lack of range in both heals and damage, but I bring her along because of her pure prayer buff, which brings a lot to the table. But at class matches or without barriers in PvP, she's pretty much a sitting duck if her dodge does not proc. I rarely even bring her to the front to do damage, only when it's safe. So that's what I think about Rosa. She's great as a support, and I think you can build her out as a damage dealer due to the fact that she doesn't have any good survivability skills or options other than dodge. And that poses a problem when bringing her to the front lines or even in the mid lines for that matter. Let's talk about her espers. Fairly obvious one would be Tetrasulfide, which gives additional missile attack. If you are going to use Tetrasulfide on Rosa, do not spec it for evade. Rosa has terrible luck. She won't evade a truck when it tries to hit her unless her dodge procs. Focus on Wind Eater and other Eater skills. The benefit of Tetrasulfide compared to the other espers is also speed. Rosa being squishy as she must do a lot of pussyfooting around, speed is a must to keep you out of harm's way. Second would be Two-Headed Dragon. The Two-Headed Dragon gives Rosa more raw damage and, more importantly, Dark Eater. Most DPS today are dark-oriented units. Two-Headed Dragon gives her damage boost she needs in her physical attacks. Using Two-Headed Dragon though won't affect her heals so much, but I guess the biggest issue about this esper is speed. I think it has around 9 speed, or I'm not sure, around that, and it might cause problems with you trying to outmaneuver very speedy units, and a lot of them are there. And also, not to mention, Kain's TMR grants haste and move, so that's another problem. If you want to amp out the ante against wind supports, like Leela or Ayaka, you might want to go Shiva. Giving her one-hit delete potential against Leela or Ayaka might be a pleasing, thought. Shiva also has good speed, which what Rosa also needs, and has a magic attack up on her board, but I would rather get Wind Eater because that's the point why we equip Shiva, to eat wind support units alive. Those two are my most recommended espers for her, nothing much else. To be honest, I see no point in equipping her with defense-oriented espers in a match, because 3 units can easily pile up on their attacks, and with Def and SPR piercing already in global, it's almost pointless due to being one hit, unless you have barriers or something. For Arena, it's not good for me also because a lot of competent enemy units have AP regen TMRs and can dish out AoE skills back to back, which can catch Rosa in the crossfire. With that said, I wouldn't recommend her to be in your arena comp. Maneuvering a hybrid unit needs a lot of brain cells, or you can if you can play test her to your liking. Well, against my advice, she's in my defense comp at the moment, so yeah, that's also there. How about vision cards? Vision cards wise, of course, I would pick the most obvious ones. Frederica's Dream if you have, and if you don't have, Sharpened Concentration for obvious reasons because of missile attack. Lastly, or maybe not lastly, the Chocobo Agi card, because I said she needs the speed to outmaneuver other units, and more Agi is always good. Upcoming cards I would recommend is the MR Glacial, because additional ice attack makes her more deadly in any shape or form against wind units, because I think that's her redeeming value is her ice attack. And of course, Helena's card, because for obvious reasons we need more agility. Memorable Apple, the upcoming MR card, seems like a good fit with move +1, and it grants her death piercing. This gives her more damage capability, but again, these are future cards which are yet to be tested, but personally speaking, I will be on a lookout for these cards. For TMRs, I would recommend Victory Ribbon for PvP. The reason being is Rosa's buff does not cover Disable and Immobilize. By applying this to your units, they will be covered in all fronts against the debuffs, and they will be able to dish out their own debuffs without the risk, or at least zero risk of getting countered themselves with the same debuffs. I mean, her best quality for PvP is her buffs might as well max out its potential output. So that's why I would be recommending Victory Ribbon for her. The second one would be Zombie Mask. As I mentioned in previous videos and points, skills such as re-raise are highly valued, especially in squishy units such as this one. It's a no-brainer that this would be a good fit for her. You can be more aggressive and worry less about maneuvering around other units since you have an insurance plan. Another would be Sacred Step from Ayaka, which grants Rosa 30% damage reducing barrier of any type. I don't think you would benefit on the TMR's other skill to remove certain status ailments on a bereaved teammate, since I said she needs to be out of range most of the time. It's also much better to keep your units spread out due to the immense use of calculators and AoE attacks as of late. Another TMR that would be good on her is Lucia's TMR, if you want to go a bit more offensive, which gives more agi and range on your missile attacks. Another would be the Reincarnation Bow. This is so-so. The main drawing point for this is the charm ability. To a unit without resistance to charm, the success rate is around 21% or so, and not to mention it has an abysmal hit compared to steel hard skill. Again, this might be good if you're a bit of a gambler, which I think I am to some extent. When push comes to shove, this might be a lifesaver TMR. Who knows? Assassin Bow, in the same boat with Reincarnation Bow, its drawing point is the 15% chance to doom, which is pretty low, but when luck smiles at you and somehow it procs, it's a good thing to have. Again, this is one of those high risk and high reward TMRs that are more for the gambling types.
So, as a conclusion for everything, what I think about Rosa is she's the epitome or the really hardcore support. Her damage is support level, but her buffs are amazing. Her heals are okay. She lacks range and very squishy. Overall, yeah, she screams just support with a lot of options, with a lot of flexibility in a sense, but she tries to be too many things at once and fails to be very good or outstanding in any of them. Unfortunately speaking, editor's note, just cutting through or coming through. Maybe the reason that I like Rosa so much is just because she tries to be good at a lot of things and she's lackluster because she's somewhat similar to me, where I try to be good at a lot of things but I'm not really that good at it. So yeah, she resonates with me in that sort of way. That's why, despite that, I really tried to use her and understand her more as a unit. Now back to the regularly scheduled program. But you know, she's quote unquote okay. Not too bad, not that good either. And compared to the support like Yuna, she pales in comparison. But I don't know, maybe she gets buffed in the future. Who knows? I still use her for her buffs. I love her buffs and I feel confident whenever they're on my units. So I think that's all I want to say about Rosa. I hope this review helps people out. My reviews are usually focused on PvP, live PvP. On PvE, I think she's okay. I think she's great. But on PvP, she's kind of lacklustery. Except for the buffs. So that's all, folks. I hope you liked the video and my review on her, and I'm open to any suggestions if you guys have other thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you wanna talk about stuff. And cheers, ciao, bye, happy